Welcome to The Holistic Truth, sponsored by Nutritional Frontiers. Nutritional Frontiers is a Pittsburgh-based professional nutraceutical company founded by Dr. James Weiner and Jamie Dorley, and they are celebrating their 12th anniversary. All of the Nutritional Frontiers formulations are 100% guaranteed for purity and potency and follow the highest quality control standards today, including CGMP manufacturing facilities, certificates of analysis, and third-party testing. Want the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
And now, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's Nutritional Frontiers and the Holistic Truth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Holistic Truth, your free classroom on the air for natural healing. Today, you got the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Joe Messino, can you handle the truth?
Now more than ever, Jamie. Now more than ever. And I think everybody out there deserves the truth.
And that's right, folks. You got it live, the Jamie and Joe Show, which is the
longest-running episodic duo healthy talk show on the air in the tri-state area.
And recently award winner of the
most entertaining, of course, of all the shows on KHB. We just got confirmation of that.
It's about time, Joe, because I'm starting to feel like Susan Lucci here, never getting the award we deserve after all these years. We finally got it, and it's been confirmed. That we are the most entertaining.
The plaque is in the mail.
Oh, I can't wait. Hopefully it comes with a big check. So you can get the Holistic Truth and the Jamie and Joe Show live every Monday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And we are now global, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
You can listen to us anywhere throughout the world. So if you're down in maybe Boca Raton, Florida with Larry Brady, you're hanging out with Bianca in New Jersey.
Jersey Shore.
You're out in the Jersey Shores this time of year. You know, maybe you're down in Texas with Patty Van Horn. You know, you may be out in Idaho with Rhonda Pitchford. So depending on where you are throughout the country, we say hello to all of our friends. All you need to do is go to khbradio.com, khbradio.com. So, Joe, you don't need a radio to listen to the show?
That's the beauty of it. You don't need a radio. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection, which everybody has more than radios these days, right?
Let me whip mine out.
Whip it out.
Got my cell phone right here, iPhone. I type in KHB Radio. I rub the button, says listen live, and boom, right Jamie and Joe are live. And we're live every Monday at 11 to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And we have the Holistic Truth 3 times per week, every Tuesday and Thursday, the Early Bird Special.
Yeah.
Early Bird gets the
Never know what's going to happen on Tuesday and Thursday morning. It's different every week.
Well, Tuesday we've been having Tracy Straub, Talking Tuesdays with Tracy, and the up-and-coming rising superstar, Candace Wilson. So those are Tuesdays. What about Thursdays? I'm looking through the schedule, Joe, and there's no what's going on Thursdays.
You can't find it because anything can happen Thursdays, and that's usually the case.
Well, it's a very, very special show today. Thank, of course, Nutritional Frontiers. If you'd like more information or a free copy of The Holistic Truth, which is our quarterly wellness digest magazine, available in hard copy. You can hold it right in your hand. Or electronic copy. You can take it anywhere with you. I like it hard. How do you like it?
I like it electronic.
So there you go, folks. However you want it, you can get it. And it is free. And we'd like to thank, of course, complimentary from Nutritional Frontiers. All you need to do if you are a healthcare professional, staff, client, patient, consumer, doesn't matter. We do not discriminate. Go to nutritionalfrontiers.com and check out The Holistic Truth. If you want to get a free copy by email, Joe, so you're the first one on the block that has it.
Perfect.
Go to Nutritional Frontiers and sign right up. So it's a very special show today. We have a very special guest. And before we do, it's a very special week, folks. Do I have to sing? I'll do it my best Marilyn Monroe voice. So a big, loud, happy birthday to the one and only Mr. Joe Messino. Is this a special one? I'm going through my numbers here. Is this the 50th birthday?
It's the 50th birthday for the last 15 years.
Oh, he's 15, folks. And I tell you what, he's like a fine bottle of wine. I tell you what, he is styling and profiling, $1 million wearing, This guy looks fantastic, and, we have a great time. But I don't think anyone talks the talk better, but more importantly, walks the walk. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Much love, peace and love to you and your family. So happy you guys are healthy, and, we're looking forward to celebrating you this week. So,
well, you have to age, but you don't have to get old.
And some people don't have to grow up either. So, but you do have to age, and we talked about healthy aging over the weekend. We have a special guest who's going to be talking about today, some of the real secrets that we have. And, a lot of people are concerned with aging, Joe, because, they feel like the clock is ticking. You got menopause for the women. Men have andropause. You have osteoporosis tied in, weight gain, all these symptoms with lack of libido, vaginal dryness, body fat going up. You're in those stages of life where, the menstrual cycles are declining and changing. And, there are ways you can go through these changes of life so that it's not so debilitating and you can grow and prosper during these. So we have an expert on the show today. We're real excited. We had her on before, and the request was overwhelming to have her back on. I actually was on the road that week, so I was unable to join her. I actually worked with her going back almost 20 years when I was with Metagenics. She's one of the leaders in not only the chiropractic but nutritional community. She owns the Norwin Wellness Center out in Norwin, PA, which is, I call it Greensburg, Jeanette area, right?
Yep, Pittsburgh East.
Pittsburgh East. So I'd like to give a nice warm welcome back to Dr. Susan Plank. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Plank.
Thank you very much, guys. My goodness, you are, first of all, happy birthday out there. And, what a boost of energy. Man, I'm just thrilled for you guys that you got the plaque for most entertaining. Well-deserved, though. Well-deserved, yes.
Oh, thank you so much. We always take the compliment. We're excited, Susan, because, in this day and age, everything going on, we have the corona, we have people, with mood issues going on. There's a lack of faith right now in the country. Women going through changes, men going through changes. And you know what? What are we doing? We had a very intense training and educational program last week. It went on at the team at Nutritional Frontiers Tuesday through Saturday. We had webinar Dr. Wall. We had Tracy Straub, Joe Messino, Mike Gallagher. We had Kelly McBride. We had I'm running out of fingers here. We had Dr. Kathleen Hartford. We had so many trainers during the week, and what it gave us, it gave me a lot of peace and comfort knowing that we're doing the right thing, and that's why we're so excited. So we know you're busy right now, so we do appreciate your generosity to come back on the show. So welcome back on the show. I know you have a lot on your mind. So is your clinic still open, or can people meet with you virtually? How are you practicing today?
Yeah, most clients have decided to go virtually, so, we can do the testing remotely, we can do the appointments remotely. We're trying to make it where, we follow what we're sort of told to do, but also where we get folks the information, the testing, the supplements, whatever they need. And, again, Nutritional Frontiers, guys, is just been fantastic. They'll ship the supplements out to you, whatever you need. They are a true partner in maintaining and restoring your health, and they have some fantastic experts that he just rattled off names of. So the training and the testing was just fantastic.
Well, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We're offering drop ships to your office and to your patients. So if anything we can help you with, let us know. We really appreciate the opportunity to help you during these trying times. So are you accepting new patients? Have people texted me already?
Yes, absolutely I am. They can also head over to norwinwellness.com. I have a little spot there, little blue button right on the home page, and right there they can click on that and get scheduled for a free 15-minute consultation with me. We'll talk about what their concerns are. Maybe they've been down the road, for a few miles and they're not happy with the results they've gotten. Whatever's on their mind, that's the time. It's free. Just go in there, click the button, block out the time, and let's find out what's going on, what can we do to help and get you moving in the right direction.
I'm curious, are you still getting chiropractic patients at this point, Susan?
No, I've actually, I decided back about 2 weeks from a Sunday to a Monday, I saw a 25% increase in the cases. So I made the determination at that point that the next week, which was last week, we were going to hold off on any chiropractic clients. So we tried to move those into that week that I'm talking about. And again, the chiropractic avenue, yes, I can adjust sort of cervical spine with folks sitting up, but it's just such an intimate thing. I've gotten away, I don't want anyone laying on the table face down. So it is a concern for me, the health, the safety, the cleanliness, everything. Right now, it takes one. It takes one, and then we're going to sort of be spreading things. So I want us to be smart, as we are all doing, and I've held off on the chiropractic for exactly that reason.
Well, with you having such an experience level and a practice experience level, even more so, doing nutrition, I think that that helps you tremendously, in that those types of consultations are probably some of the easier ones to convert to virtual. So, that keeps you in a really good spot for that, where some chiropractors that don't do that are going to be at a disadvantage. But you're able to offer your services to your patients and to new patients, and that's a very important point, to new patients right now that want help nutritionally, because all the experts are saying secure the host, improve your immune system, because we've let it slide. So I think that you're in a great place for that. I'm curious to know, Susan, has the tide switched a little bit in that people are asking and wanting more consultation on immune system, or are you still doing more or less your same wellness, hormone balancing type of consultations?
Well, the reality is that's actually a wonderful question. The reality is, with our current events, it has shifted, but probably not as much as what I actually expected it to. So I sort of chalk that up to the education that, when we look at this, folks, when we just consider the COVID-19, what are we looking at? We're looking at younger folks, children, not necessarily affected too much. And we're looking at seniors over the age of 65 with underlying conditions that are affected. And those underlying conditions are actually what is exactly I address. It's the hormone imbalances, and they're starting to realize that obesity and being overweight is now a separate but a very high risk factor in COVID-19, in the coronavirus, and how severe, if that person gets sick, how severely they're going to be attacked by that virus. So, again, it's as of today, I can now offer testing. This is testing that would be done in the person's home because we need a blood draw. So we can do the COVID-19 testing, that's the IgG and the IgM, if they're interested in that. And we still have our hormone testing, our weight loss testing, and any of these can be done in the comfort of your own home, whether we do saliva or urine, or we have a phlebotomist come out. So, we're up and rolling, we're ready to go, and please, the part I don't want people to lose sight of is our maker did not make us separate little parts. Everything is integrated, folks. If you have elevated blood sugar, you have immune dysfunction. If you're carrying around too much weight, you have immune dysfunction. If you have hormonal issues, whether you're still having a menstrual cycle or whether it's becoming more erratic, these are immune issues. Everything in the body, if it's not balanced and functioning normally, is going to affect the deeper issues, which are immune issues. So we really need to start to look at things differently and not think, oh, well, the immune issue, I take my, vitamin C, so my immune system is good. We need to realize that there's these, hand in glove. It's the way we're made. It's the way we're supposed to function where things are in balance and one avenue supports another avenue of the body and the function of the body.
Wow, that put it so well for everybody to understand here. I mean, we've always, and even, in our line of this industry, we've talked about these different dysfunctions, along the way. But to make that correlation, I think it's going to open up a lot of eyes when people are listening to this. If you have a hormonal imbalance, you have an immune issue. If you have elevated cholesterol or weight or sugar, I mean, you have an immune issue. The body is one. One of the quotes I heard, from a doctor who is holistic minded, and he was addressing the whole thyroid issue, and he said, the thyroid gland doesn't exist outside of the body. And why people seem to, or not people, but why the medical industry has really decided to be reductionist and treat every organ separately, every system or every body part separately, goes completely against that whole foundation. And it's good to hear that you're doing that, and you've probably always been doing that, but now it becomes more evident than
That's
ever.
a great point, and Joe, you took the words right out of my mind. And Dr. Plank, what's really fascinating for me is that, when people go through the allopathic medical route and they're looking at everything separately like you guys are discussing, then they go to a specialist who's now just looking at one body system. All of our training has taught us, functional medicine, now termed functional nutrition, is the web of health and all these intricate parts put together. I mean, we just learned last week about erectile dysfunction is one of the top signs and symptoms now for cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, and how about the fact that we learned also that that vitamin D deficiency is directly related to that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, Joe. They were calling vitamin D the new Viagra.
The new Viagra.
So this is fascinating. So, Dr. Plank, they go to norwinwellness.com. Is that the best way to schedule an appointment if they're a new client?
Sure, and they can call the office too, 724-863-5420. So, whatever works, go to norwellness.com. You can get yourself a free 15-minute consultation with me. Let's talk about what's going on, what you'd like to see better. Let me really find out about you. Or you can call the office, 724-863-5420.
And I love what you're doing. This is fantastic. Dr. Michael Wald 20 years ago was doing a seminar, and he talked about the initial 15 to 20-minute free consult. And he says, I do it because I want the client patient to really feel comfortable and committed. Mm-hmm. And he goes, that's why I do it. It works for both sides. This is no different than, an athlete hiring a coach. And I think a lot of people these days are trying to do this on their own. Joe, I've been, at this for 30-plus years, and I still have multiple doctors. I have a chiropractor. I have a medical doctor. I have a nutritionist. I have massage therapy, muscle. I mean, I work with so many different professionals because I feel it's really important to have that expert that's helping you with your program because your goals always change. So a lot of people ask me, well, they're still new to this. So, Dr. Plank, can you take us through the procedure? All right, so they schedule an appointment. They do the free 15-minute consult. You had mentioned some testing and some things. Can you take us through the path of what it looks like to be a client of yours and what the expectations are? Because I think a lot of people, this is still unknown, Joe.
Yeah.
They don't go usually to someone like Dr. Plank, a wellness expert, because they just don't know. They're so used to going to the medical doctor, getting their insurance card out, being pushed out of there with a prescription, and then 3-6 months, maybe 3 years later, the problem is worse. So what does that process look like for people, just to give them a little more comfort?
Thanks for asking. And the reality is that's why that 15-minute call is just so invaluable. There's folks have to be comfortable. It's not. That's exactly it. It's this nutritional work is not like you're going to go sit in a waiting room for 2 hours and then you get your, 3 minutes and probably about that time or less face to face with maybe a physician's assistant. You don't even see the doctor. So what happens is I work very closely and intently with my clients, and I want to make sure that it's a good fit from the start. I want to make sure that person feels heard, listened to, that I'm getting the symptoms that they've had sometimes for years. But also, it's an opportunity for them to ask me and to make sure I'm the right provider to get them where they want to go. And so it's a wonderful way to sort of collaborate and see if I'm the right provider for them. And then after that, usually I have a really pretty good idea of, what path, where the person has been, what they've tried, what's our sort of next steps. I talk to the prospective client, and is it something they'd like to move forward to? There's no pressure if they want to talk to their family, because it is going to be a commitment. It's a commitment that they will improve their health, feel better than they've ever felt before. But it doesn't happen with just like a magic pill. It doesn't happen with a script that you go get filled and then that's it. Your responsibility is supposed to be done. So, there is this active part of working with me, and that's the part we sort of, like I said, it's a collaboration. The testing comes in, and again, that you can check out our services there at the normwellness.com website. But the testing comes in because that maybe is how I am differentiated in nutritionists and holistic providers, is I learned muscle testing. Muscle testing is a beautiful art. Kinesiology, a beautiful art. The way I am as a provider, my personality, I like numbers. I like to see this is where the person is, and when we're done with treatment, we can redo a test, and this is where we got them to. I just recently, just last month, had a client drop 50 points in cholesterol in a month. 50-point drop in cholesterol.
Without drugs.
This is all natural. This is with supplements. This is with changing the diet. It's with removing inflammation. Talk about another thing that triggers the immune system. It's our process of eating. If you don't know what you're eating, if it's triggering your immune system, if you're eating the gluten, the wheat, the dairy, 80% of the population is sensitive to one of those things. That is showing up in an IgG immune response. In layman's terms, the food is tweaking the immune system. So you can think that you're protected by taking your vitamin C, but if you're eating the foods that are sensitive, your immune system is working every minute of every day. And when something bigger, harder, more acute comes along, your immune system's already fatigued. It's now got to rear its head to try to battle something bigger coming at it. And it's a big reason why I think when you listen to the experts, you're hearing how this, what's happening in the United States. They have to change models and all this stuff from what's happened in the rest of the world. I think we take eating packaged processed foods as like it really is food. And that is a part to me underlying in this country that's a very scary proposition. And it's led to these chronic illnesses that, God bless them, but the medical profession is ill-equipped to help.
Yeah, Joe has a great saying. He says, there's no junk food, Dr. Plank. It's either junk or food. And what used to be a treat for, like, your birthday or, hey, you go get pizza on a Saturday night has turned into the foundation of people's diet. And then you factor in the part that most of these processed things are not prepared at home.
Right.
You know, in our day growing up, How many times do you go out to eat, Joe, in your life? Not in a week or a day, in your life as a kid.
As a kid, well, I'd have to say once or twice a year.
Yeah, going out to eat was going to my aunt's house on Sunday for Sunday dinner.
It was once a year when it was my mom's birthday, and I think my mom laid down the law to my dad. You're taking me and these 6 kids out to eat. I'm not cooking on my birthday, right? Otherwise, it was like the grandparents' 50th anniversary. You went out to eat hardly ever. Yeah.
You know what else? I have and even
then, it was you going to a nice restaurant. Right. It was a local, family-owned restaurant. It was all handmade. It was prepared, fresh food. Now, I mean,
this whole thing, this whole quarantine, social distancing is causing people to eat worse because you see commercials for Taco Bell and Pizza Hut and all these places. They now are advertising contact-less delivery. So now you can order all this junk food. You can have it delivered. They buzz your phone and tell you it's sitting on your doorstep. You don't even have to see the delivery person. But what is that doing? That's making this fast food more available during a time when we should be eating nutritional.
Yeah, what it's done for me is actually, just more meals prepped at home.
Yeah.
Because we like to go out to restaurants a lot, even for people at work, and I eat good. I eat really well when I go out to eat. But wow, it's really helped me. Go to the grocery store. It's funny. We were talking to Dr. Plank the other day. People talk about toilet paper being out. I tell you one thing that's not out: organic fruits and veggies.
Uh-huh.
I went and bought my blueberries
right.
for the last couple of days. I go every
about
few
that,
days.
how all the spaghetti sauces and the pasta and the prepared food in the freezer section all gone. But you could still walk in and buy whatever you wanted in the produce section, and that's pretty much all we have to say right there, right? That's a reflection of things. But I will tell you something else is I've heard now a couple of clients on my weight loss. So again, a lot of my clients have some fairly serious, underlying health conditions. So they're the group that maybe shouldn't be going out in public. And so I actually heard from one of my clients that said, I thought this was really going to be difficult, but the reality is I find that I'm actually eating less because of my concern of having to go out in public to go buy the healthy foods at the grocery store. So not only are they eating better, but now they're actually starting to look at portion size as well because they are in that high-risk category. And the thought of, hey, I have to go to the grocery store now is becoming more of a concern. By all means, I tease them. They're not starving, but they just became more aware of what's going in, how much is going in, and yet just how quickly they start to feel better because they're getting the vitamins and nutrients just naturally.
Well, it's a reminder when listening to Holistic Truth, your free classroom on the air. It's the Jamie and Joe Show, and we are live from Studio 109 with very special guest, Dr. Susan Plank from Norwin Wellness Center. This is a big day with Dr. Plank on the show, a big week, and a huge happy birthday to the one and only Mr. Joe Messino. How does it feel, Joe, to be 50-15?
It feels great. You know what? We have a lot of sayings, right, Jamie? You and I, we have a lot of things we like to quote. A lot of guys we steal from when their quotes are worth it. And, I said earlier, you have to age, you don't have to get old. Well, we also don't lie about our age around here.
What?
We don't lie about it. We don't lie about it. We defy it. And thanks to doctors like Susan, I mean, I got to say something, Susan. This is so important right now. What you just described is, to me, why people need to start seeking you out as their primary care physician, because you have educated your patients. Now they're eating correctly. They're not falling into that trap of getting every pizza, taco delivered to their house. They're eating less, they're eating better, and they're doing what's necessary for their immune system. Now, people that are going, like you said earlier, to their primary care allopathic physician, waiting for 2 hours and having a 5-minute appointment. But, here's the sad part. People now figure that's the norm, and they don't question it anymore. They do that anyhow, and it's so different when they see someone.
And that's why I like when she walked them through the process, right? Because just the fact that she listens to people and gives them the free consult, and they go on her website, and they can actually meet with the doctor and establish a really important patient-doctor relationship. And I think that's one of the biggest things lacking in defense of the doctors when they're using insurance reimbursable medicine. They don't have the time to spend with anyone. So you may not even get to see the doctor, right? And then if you do, you usually get about, 2 to 3 minutes. And they're more interested in updating your insurance information because the system does not allow that. So, Dr. Plank, when they meet with you, what does a first, second, and third appointment look like? And you mentioned testing. Can you go through that a little bit deeper? Because I got a lot of people texting me what type of testing and how does it work. And
because it's unusual for a chiropractor to have testing.
That's why.
This is very important information. Go ahead, Susan.
Sure, absolutely. So even if someone decides, hey, I like the feel of this, I like the sound of it, I think it's going to be a good fit, we start out right then and we send them actually a link. So again, it fits with current events and what's going on. That link is our patient portal. So they can sit in the comfort of their own home. We're not shipping papers back and forth. They sit in the comfort of their own home. They give me the detailed history, the family history. So before I even get to meet them, whether it's in person or, telenutrition remotely here, is I already have a really strong background between knowing what their symptoms are, knowing what they've been through, and now getting to see actually their history for years or decades, their family history. And like I said, that then starts to guide what testing, where we want to go with that. So the goal also is decided upon, and that's the direction we want to go. So if it's someone like that wants to lose weight, a big component of weight loss is foods. What food should that person actually be eating, and what food should they be staying away from? And like I said, that has an immune connection. But the other part is the hormonal testing. I want to get those hormones tested because chances are, even if it's a woman who's postmenopausal, they could be sitting there listening to us going, well, why do I have to have my hormones checked? Because, I stopped that years ago. The reality of it is those hormones are still there. They're at a lower level, but they can still be imbalanced. And if you had endometriosis, polycystic ovary symptom, irregular periods, you had any of this previously, that's all hormone imbalance, liver dysfunction. And just because the ovary stopped producing estrogen doesn't mean, or slowed down, doesn't mean that things miraculously went back in balance. Estrogen is actually very protective in many ways with bone health, digestively. But folks, even look again at the coronavirus. You're having women be more protected because of the estrogen than what you're seeing with men. So again, it's this protection part that estrogen brings, but you don't want to back up the track with estrogen either. So that's why the testing is just so important. I want to see not only where are these individual hormones, but are they balanced to each other, and can ultimately the body, the liver, get rid of the used hormones. We need all these pathways to work, and it doesn't matter whether, I know today it's sort of postmenopausal women we're talking about. It doesn't matter whether it's men or women. These pathways are the same. The pathways are the same to balance and get these hormones just right.
Well, you said something really interesting there, and I think this holds true as a general condition in our country, not just around here, but in our country, that people are still unaware of the fact that, just because you went through menopause or andropause for men, people think you stop having hormones or making hormones altogether. You can't, or you'd be dead. So, this is an important part of the educational process that you bring, to your to your client base, because I think that that's a common misconception.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it's just like you're supposed to be riding in the car, and then andropause or menopause is you just drove the car off the cliff, right? You just drove off the cliff and you're just done, right? That's not the way it works. These hormones, they are our communicators with other cells in the body. We don't need to get to a reproductive level of hormones, but we definitely need a functional level. We definitely need a level to where we're protected, but not to the level of a reproductive level. I want to touch one other thing on, you guys mentioned earlier that you're in your educational experience over the last week. The reality of it is heart disease and underlying cardiovascular disease is the cause of why men need the little blue pill. But if you look at what the highest side effect is, it's heart disease, right? Heart attack,
right,
from taking the little blue pill. The reality of it is you already have that need because you have the underlying heart disease. It's been this way for years. Just everybody, medicine, drug companies, they just don't let you know that. So if we address the underlying causes of the heart disease, the cholesterol levels, the blood sugar, right, the vessel inflammation, if we address those, we have a natural path to move forward. If we don't, and you decide to take some testosterone boosting thing, some, little blue pill, you've now just pretty much guaranteed what the outcome is going to be, because there was already that underlying issue before you took the little blue pill. I hope that makes sense.
It's almost like, it's almost like the chicken and the egg, right? Which one came first here? And that's the whole problem, is people try to address a function with a drug. So that just gives us a whole new meaning on how we practice and how we believe in this functional nutrition process that we're going through. So you're working with. Let me ask you this, Susan. As far as hormonal imbalances, where do you see your clientele, men to women, women to men? What's the ratio?
For hormonal imbalances, it's almost 50-50. I'd probably say it's 60-40 with more women, but it's probably 60-40. I want to throw out something that this year we started. It's a group coaching session, and so we did a postmenopausal women group, and so we tried to line up, women where they are at in life. So our first group, postmenopausal women. Out of the women in the group, every single one had low testosterone. Every single one. Low DHEA.
Wow. What age group were they?
What's that?
What was the age group on them?
Postmenopausal. So the women were 62 to 73 years old.
Okay, I got you.
62 to 73. Every single one. 100%.
Wow.
No, I don't think, for
and
us,
so,
that's
and
not surprising. But for the
we
general
asked,
public,
and I want to say it was 80% of them had been taking something for their adrenals, but never realized, hey, the adrenals are the stepping stone to get to, the DHEA is a stepping stone to get to the testosterone. And again, I think it's so important is because women aren't looking at, it's just been neglected across the board for decades. So women just assume that the hormones are, like I said, go off the cliff. It's just supposed to stop. And that just doesn't happen. And on the other side, men are just assuming, they're more vocal about it because they're losing a big part of what's so important to them. But, for years they've accepted like, oh, things are just, not working as well. I'm losing some muscle. I'm just getting tired, whatever the symptoms might be. But that's the andropause, right? The fatigue that goes with it, but the sexual symptoms as well. And that's where we have to do this, where we educate. And in that case, in this group, I really had to educate the women that testosterone is important. Not only is it important in strength, decreasing the number of falls, testosterone is directly connected to that for men and women as we age, but also the testosterone then gets converted to estrogen, which is protective because women have a higher incidence of osteoporosis, osteopenia. We're starting to see men's increase, but it's still not quite at the level where women are.
Wow. Now, okay, so that's an interesting point because I think, and I've been saying this for a while, and I know you are well aware of this, that I think one of the reasons that osteopenia is on the rise for men is also you could take it back to a deficiency, and that would be the vitamin K2 deficiency that we know we're a part of in this country.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Again, it's what we started out talking about, right? It's just the whole preoccupation now with the immune system. But there's no part of our body that's separate. And the hormones are exactly the same. They're exactly the same. But because no one is talking about them, and specifically when I say no one, I mean physicians, I mean medical doctors. Women, when was the last time even a gynecologist ordered blood work or some other testing to check your hormones? I bet you when I ask my clients,
they're not even adding in the vitamin D testing on the normal blood work, which now from all the literature in the last 5 years, they're calling vitamin D a hormone-like substance. I bet in 5 years they're going to stop calling it vitamin D. However, do they test that normally on a routine blood work? No. You have to request it, and then not only are they not testing it, if they do test it, Dr. Plank, the other challenge we see a lot, I'd love to hear your perspective on this, is, Joe, the vitamin D panel is 30 to 100 is normal. So you come in 30, I come in at 90, we're both normal? I mean, how is that possible? So what are your thoughts on that? Because not only are they not doing testing, if they do, they're not looking for trends in the testing.
No, they're not. Not at all. And you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head with the vitamin D testing. I've even had clients come in where it's the mid-20s, okay, where they just said 30 to 100 is considered normal. Clients in the mid-20s, so they're low, but the doctor said, well, let's have you start to take some if you're not already. And the people said, well, I have been taking it. Well, then just keep doing what you're doing. If you keep doing what you're doing,
meanwhile, we
you're
know
in the
from the
mid-20s,
research that when vitamin D levels fall below 25,
it's not working.
The macrophages don't even activate, and that's where you're seeing all these autoimmune conditions, which I think is it's the right now the silent. That one's going to be exploding over the next 5 years if it hasn't already. These autoimmune conditions, but vitamin D levels in the 20s, yeah, it's routine, but now they wonder why their immune system's not working properly. Well, there you go.
That's right, exactly. Or the low bone density, right? So, again, we have to have its balance. It's always about balance. But if you don't get a test done, if we don't know where you're at, we don't have a way to know if we're fixing it. But that's sort of the key here, right? We have to know that we're doing it. And the most fascinating part of when someone starts a program with me, once we get the testing, it's usually within 10 days. 10 days, that person starts feeling better. We start changing the diet. We put things in. We take things out. We add in the excellent, the absorbable supplements. We do all these things, and it's 10 days. The person starts to feel better. So
well, you said a magic word there. I just heard
that's
was
where
diet,
we can start
right?
to retest and see
we've been
that
doing
things
this a long
are
time,
improved.
we hear so many different ideas on diet. I think a lot of them, I tell people, they're fads, right? You know, it was the Atkins diet, then the South Beach, and then fat-free, and then high-fat, and keto, and intermittent fasting, and So what is your, I know every diet's customized for that person, and I'll give you my personal experience here in a minute, but what are your concepts overall? We tried to simplify it by telling people things from the ground and from the tree, things that swim, run, or fly, and things that would go bad if you left it on your counter. So food versus product. What are your overall philosophy on diet?
Yeah, you guys hit the nail on the head, honestly. What I really like to see, because, again, with these chronic health conditions that medical professionals just are ill-equipped to address, what we need to see is a stabilization of blood sugar. I want that person's fasting blood sugar to be in the mid-80s. If it's going over 90, for every percent increase over 84, that's a 6% increase of that person developing diabetes. So if they're at 100, you're at 96% that you're going to develop diabetes. So number one, I want to get that stabilized, and I like to do that. That's where the vegetables come in, the crunchy vegetables, right? The ones with the fiber in. Fiber and the protein, just like you guys talked about, the lean proteins are what stabilizes blood sugar. That's where we can have that success rate of getting virtually everybody feeling better in 10 days, because we're plugging these things in to affect this epidemic that we have of irregulated blood sugar.
So when you say, all right, let's talk about that concept of the percentage and the risk. How do you where would you tie in insulin resistance into that equation? Because more people, I think, are in insulin resistance and don't know it. Yeah, before actual type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. And so those go hand in glove again. So we have the blood sugar rate that if I do the blood work, we're doing a fasting glucose level, which is just a moment in time. It might be reflective back to maybe 3 days. So I tell folks, don't do it on a Monday morning after you had birthday cake, right? Don't do it. You have birthday cake on a Saturday. Don't do the fasting blood sugar Monday morning. But the other part of it is I'm also ordering an A1C. So I get that blood sugar over the 90 days, and I'm getting an insulin level to see, because you're absolutely right. That insulin resistance, and that insulin starts going higher and higher. Now we have disruption of the cell membranes. And nutrients can't get in, the food can't get in, the energy can't get in, and that insulin just starts going higher and higher and higher to try to make it a pressure gradient and force that energy into the cell. So you're absolutely right. It's not like, it's just about blood sugar. These are intricate systems, folks. So the blood sugar, that glucose, A1C is just reflective of a longer time, an average of that glucose. But a cell needs healthy insulin and a healthy glucose level. They join together to make that energy available and go inside that cell membrane. So the higher the insulin levels, we're going to see really sort of junked up cell membranes. We're going to see more heart disease. We're going to see higher blood pressures, erratic blood pressures. I have folks where they go in and take a shower and the blood pressure skyrockets. Just the heat of a shower makes their blood pressure, the body seeing it as an insult. So these are the types of things we really need to look at, and those are all included in the testing that I do.
Yeah, I love what you said there. One of the key things I heard was blood sugar regulation. And I learned from personal experience and a lot of people that I've been working with, healthcare professionals and patients alike. And I think the challenge is that here's what happens, right? People think, and even for me personally, hey, I'm eating pretty good most of the time, right? And I feel like at this point, I can't eat anything bad or anything on the road, or you get to the point where it's like you got to cut out all bread, you have to cut out all pasta. I think people feel like they're being punished, right? But I found for myself personally, I'm better with zero of those things, because even the smallest amount, Joe, it's too much for some people, right?
Right.
Because your body can only tolerate so much. And I think that's where people have gotten. So when you put people on this food program, and, you said 10 days, they're feeling a lot different, I think that's a great strategy on the initial. What about on the maintenance part? Because I find when people start to deviate off the program is where they get back in trouble.
Yeah, and we keep this, so my typical program is 12 weeks, okay? So in those 12 weeks, if we're looking at weight loss, we see the cholesterol levels come down, or a stabilization of the blood sugar, we normalize liver enzymes, whatever the goal is for that individual. Before we get to that point, we're going to go back and we're going to reassess whatever the problematic labs were. Some folks choose, hey, I want to do the whole panel. I just want to know I want to know the hormones. I want to see where everything changed. And we leave that up to the individual. But some folks will choose, and hey, I want to see, did my triglycerides come down? Did my blood sugar start to normalize, right? Where's my insulin level at? And so did my DHEA improve? So those are the things, probably right around 10 weeks is we're looking at getting those done so we have the results back by the time we're doing that 12-week appointment.
Wow. That's, and here's the other thing I think, Susan, like I said earlier, and like you said earlier, people are so used to going to the doctor, get a pill for an ill. And I think it's important also to let people know that, this isn't, like Jamie always calls it, green medicine either. It's still not a vitamin for an ill, okay? It's a lifestyle. And I think that's what you bring to the table more than anything else. And like I said, to have a chiropractor that has such a variety of services to offer. I mean, chiropractors we love, but you have testing, you have all these other options. You have kinesiology along with it. But the testing in and of itself, I can tell you right now, Susan, I have some relatives out east that are looking for a new primary care, so I'll be sending them your way.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for the very kind words. It's interesting. It's a confusing time. You guys just rattled off all the different types of diets, all the different and they're not even necessarily diets, just ways to eat. And that's where I try to take all this confusion and this noise that, well, should I be doing Atkins? Should I be doing keto? Because one's all protein, all fat. I'm worried. I have a history of heart disease. The cholesterol's going up. Or, over here, maybe I should be a vegan or a vegetarian. And yet you hear all the wonderful things about that. And yet there's the gamut in between those. So how can we have that these extremes are beneficial? How can we have in between, just like the vitamin D, the 30 to 100? How can that be normal for everybody? How can we have these lifestyle dietary choices have that normal for everybody? It's not. And what I do then is figure out what the best foods, what the best dietary lifestyle is for that individual. And you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Some folks just are so carb sensitive that as soon as we try to put in the littlest bit, it defies logic. But, okay, we're going to, I'll just exaggerate here, but we're going to give you the 6-ounce carrot, and the person turns around and says, I just gained 4 pounds from that 6-ounce carrot. That's how sensitized the body has become to the sugar, to the carbs, and they get this hyper response in another symptom.
Yeah, that's a great point. My background being weight training and sports and bodybuilding and fitness, for years I was eating very clean carbs, brown rice, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, those type of things. And what I found is over the years, I'm doing a lot better on very, very little starches, if any. I'll do like half a sweet potato a couple times a week if I'm really depleted, and that's still working out a lot. So I've been shocked, as I updated my program this year with cutting all those things out, even what I consider the healthier ones. And I think that's another way of continuing to work with professionals like yourself, Dr. Plank, realizing that your goals and your body keeps evolving over time, and you got to keep making adjustments, Joe, right? I mean, your body now isn't the same as it was even 5 months ago. Stress factors, environmental factors.
And I value that is a perfect example of yourself that you just shared. And I couldn't say it better myself, honestly, that you're always reassessing, right? That things are changing, and we have to change. We have to change the supplements. We have to change the diet. We have to make the changes to give our body what it needs. And I couldn't have said it better. You just did an expert job of that.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm just speaking from the heart, and I've been there because I like to relate to people and let them know. Sometimes they think, oh, it's so easy for you guys. No, it's not. We're in the same boat as everyone else. We're humans. We have strong faith, and that's really what carries us through. And we do a lot of soul searching because we realize, look, with the amount of work we do, we love what we do, but we do give a lot, so we got to reinvest in ourselves. And look, with stress, with finances, family, business, all these different things going on in the world, and this is even before Corona, your body changes, and what worked last year doesn't always work this year. So, I took a totally different approach this year, and it's only been a few months, but I said, I talked to Joe about it. He says, look, let's try something different. So I've been working with Dr. Brasilia. I got a new team that's helping me personally. I did all types of testing, and it was really surprising, Dr. Plank, what I found for myself. So I was open-minded, and I said, let me try a different food program. And it's been miraculous, the change that I'm feeling. And I said the other day, I says, Joe, I says, I'm not hungry, but I realize I just like to eat. We use eating as a social activity, me and him. And I said, but I'm not hungry when I got off even some of the healthier carbs.
You're absolutely right there. Again, it's the variation in each person between their genetics, their diet, their body's needs, the goals, the problems they have. That all has to be taken into account to develop the right dietary and lifestyle plan just for them.
You've been listening to The Holistic Truth, sponsored by Nutritional Frontiers, a Pittsburgh-based professional nutraceutical company founded by Dr. James Weiner and Jamie Dorley. Listen again at this same time for The Holistic Truth.